Our breaking news coverage of the SpaceX IPO does continue now. Welcome to the Halftime Report. I'm Scott Wapner. We're here at Post 9 at the New York Stock Exchange. We're opened for business in the biggest IPO ever, up about 16% right now. We'll track every single move of it. SpaceX investor, Altimeter Capital founder and CEO Brad Gerstner is with us here. Stephanie Link is as well, Malcolm Ethridge, and Rob Seach. It's great to have everybody here. It is a momentous day. The timing of this, getting it open before noon, momentous in and of itself. You got a big allocation.
Yeah.
What do you think you're buying into today? What do you feel like you are?
I mean, first, let's just take a moment. Scott, first, thanks for having me on. Take a moment to celebrate what an incredible day this is for America, what an incredible day it is for the hard work of the thousands of people at Starbase who've worked to put us back on the top in space. Remember, when SpaceX got started, right, we didn't even have a shuttle to go to space to pick up our own astronauts. We were paying the Russians to go get our astronauts. Today, we're back on the top in space. I think this is what makes the country great. It's a great moment to celebrate. With that said, yes, we were buyers in the IPO. We were lucky enough to be shareholders ahead of the IPO. I think there's an incredible moment for the company. The numbers that are out there are not layups by any stretch, but hopefully today we can unpack that a little bit, Scott, because I think they have a real path on both AI hyperscale compute, on X.AI, on launch, and the things they're doing in connectivity that are going to change the country.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned some very, very big numbers, and this is where the real work begins, right? To try and reach those lofty targets that some have set, including the company itself.
Right.
A TAM of $28.5 trillion. Morgan Stanley's looking for SpaceX's revenue to reach $3.4 trillion in 2040. Lofty targets, obviously, by Goldman Sachs as well. So now we see what they can do from here.
Right. Well, I mean, let's not go all the way out to 2040. I think it's 160 billion, which is a little more pedestrian in 2028. And remember, something extraordinary happened. The last time I was on the show, just a couple weeks ago, I said everything about the IPO changed. Why? Because they had moved into the category of being an AI hyperscaler. In literally 6 weeks, they went from not in the game to $27 billion of AI hyperscaler revenue with big deals from Anthropic and Google. What is the one thing we can all underwrite? I think we can all agree Elon Musk and the team at SpaceX are as capable as anybody on the planet. Jensen has said they're number one at standing up terrestrial data centers, at standing up AI data centers. On my podcast, Jensen said they did in 100 days what it took others 2 to 3 years to do. So if the bet, in going from, 20 billion or 18 billion last year to 160 billion, a huge portion of that is standing up AI data centers and leasing them right to the Anthropics of the world, the Googles of the world. I think they're going to run away and consolidate that business. My estimate is in a few years, they're going to be the largest AI hyperscaler in the United States.
I mean, it's probably why, as you heard Sequoia's Sean McGuire in the interview with our friends in the prior hour suggest that massive TAM that I mentioned could be, in his words, an underestimate. This company has the most important mission of any company in history, he said. Thinking about 10 years from now, I think of it more like NVIDIA 3 years ago. High confidence in the explosive revenue growth that they can deliver. And he made the point, I think, which was really interesting to listen to, and they can ramp really quickly. To your point, they've already proven their ability to ramp certain parts of the business really quickly. So doubt those large numbers at your own peril, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, listen, again, today, this was not a get-rich-quick scheme today. $1.7 trillion is not an inadequate valuation. You see the stock up 20% today. So when I was getting calls from my mom and my siblings, should I buy the SpaceX stock on retail? I said, it's not a get-rich-quick scheme, but if you want to own it for a year or 2 years, I think you're going to do really well. Competitive returns from this one. I mentioned the AI hyperscalers. What we haven't mentioned is the pending acquisition of Cursor. Look, we were looking at investing in Cursor. I think it was probably the next best lab in the country beyond the Frontier Labs. We thought this company could get to $10 billion in revenue on its own this year. Right now, coupled with SpaceX, we think they can really have a shot at building, with that huge compute infrastructure, really building another Frontier Lab. Remember, intelligence is the log of compute. They have the largest coherent clusters in the country. And so we think they're going to be in the game at building X.AI into a real frontier lab.
Steph, you're one of the few in our orbit, pardon the pun, who wanted in on this IPO, who said you're going to be a buyer. Are you?
I thought this was going to be up 40, 50%, up 20. It's an absolute screaming buy. But I also said you buy a small position, it's going to be volatile, and you just set it and you forget it. Because he has a great track record, Elon Musk. Tesla was up 25,000% since their 2010 IPO. And that is a big, big number. So who knows what this company is going to do, but a total addressable market, even if it's half of the 28.5 trillion that is estimated, that's still huge runway for this company. And founder-led companies usually increase shareholder returns by double. So you want to own a founder-led company. They have the sense of urgency, and he does. We know that for facts. The space business, they have a 90 share. Starlink, they have 10 million customers. Brad just talked about the AI opportunity. There's a lot of ways this company can win. They can just win in one of these things, and I think the stock is much higher.
You've owned this stock in pretty good size in private market.
And in the IPO as well. We've been participants across our client base. I think this is the most strategically unique asset ever to come to market. And they're going to have enormous pricing power. The one risk is their biggest client's the U.S. government. So when you have that type of pricing power, monopolistic pricing power, where your costs are coming in tremendously and your profits are going up enormously, the revenue opportunity and everything that Brad outlined. And by the way, if you can't listen to that and get excited about this business, there's actually something wrong with you. This IPO is the most engineered IPO in history, too. Do you think any of the underwriters are not going to support this? The size of the offering, the retail participation. So there's a lot to be excited about. The index inclusion, right?
NASDAQ 100 in about 15 days.
So much that is supportive of here. Now, there is a huge underwriter's lockup coming off at some point in the future. There may be an opportunity at some point to be a better buyer. However, I think there's so much enthusiasm around this. And if you're a really long-term thinker and you believe in the visionary characteristics of this man, I don't know how you can't be excited. And I think the writing's on the wall in the roadshow that this and Tesla could be together at some point in time.
Well, that's the great speculation. So stock's up about 20-ish%. As Leslie Picker was saying from the trading floor of Morgan Stanley, the sweet spot, if you will, and how these things are, hoped to trade in their earliest moments of trading. What about you? Interest from you or no, Malcolm?
No, and I think that Brad framed it perfectly as far as what you should be considering this company to do if you're buying in at IPO, right? The S1, the prospectus told you basically we're an AI company now, right? The focus, the TAM that they talked about, the $28 trillion, which, by the way, is the size of the GDP of the entire United States. But that aside, like the TAM is all from AI. It has nothing to do with launching rockets. It's nothing to do with satellite connectivity. And I'm being general when I say nothing to do with, but most of it is hyperscaler CapEx related to we're building data centers trying to unseat some of the bigger names.
Which is funny because now the biggest revenue percentage they get is from the connectivity angle.
Yes,
Starlink's the biggest contributor today. Not suggesting in any way that means it's the biggest contributor in the future, because it's obviously in what you're saying is factual, but it speaks in some respects to how this company is transforming itself in real time. But let me finish the thought.
What I was going to say is if you really want pure play space, because the name is a little bit misleading now, SpaceX, you could be looking at like an AST that's selling off tremendously today. You could be looking at Rocket Lab, which is selling off tremendously today in response to raising capital to go participate here. Just by comparison, if I wanted a hyperscaler that's building to put AI data centers all over the country and all over the globe, I don't have to pay 100 times sales to do it. I could look at something like an Alphabet at 10 times sales. I could look at an Amazon at 3 times sales. What about XAI is so much more valuable, 27 times roughly the value of Amazon at this price point? That's the question I have to be asking.
I'll let you answer that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the pushback is important and fair. Just to go to the numbers for a second, I think if you look at Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley's numbers for 2028, they have AI about 2x what the connectivity or Starlink revenue is. So Starlink is going to be a massive, massive business. We shouldn't underestimate it. And remember, Starship being able to have the advantage that it's going to have to space unlocks everything else. So the call options that we're valuing of orbital data centers, of all the stuff that, lies in front of us. And remember, we're applying a future multiple. We're not looking backwards. We're saying, what is this going to be worth in the future? We have the greatest visionary, the greatest engineer, the greatest operator. And let's give a shout out to Glenn Shotwell and the team. Everybody always talks about Elon, but standing right behind Elon is just an extraordinary team that has been relentless for decades, putting us back on top in space.
She was probably there, at some of the, the darkest moments of the trajectory of this company, even getting to a day like today. One of the earliest employees, I think Elon said maybe number 7 or something to that regard. But if you look at Elon himself, when he was addressing his own employees this morning from out at their HQ, the Starbase, he said that 10 years ago, I gave SpaceX less than a 10%. He said I gave SpaceX less than a 10% chance of succeeding at all. That was back in 2002. It speaks to the road full traveled to get to this day. And I'm glad that you mentioned her and the role that she's played, because she's been there from near beginning to help get this company to this moment.
Right. And we're here celebrating these moments, but the near-death experiences that Elon and Gwen will recount time after time, not just at SpaceX, at Tesla, et cetera, and they continue to reinvent themselves at scale. Just think about what they did over the last 6 weeks heading into this IPO, not to mention launching Falcon 9 with a bunch of satellites the morning of the IPO successfully into space. But just in the last 6 weeks, doing these deals, these AI hyperscaler deals, acquiring or an option to acquire Cursor, these are massive things. I can't imagine another Mag 7 company that's entrepreneurial like this at this scale. So if you ask me why I'm betting on them, right, you don't have to be either or against Alphabet, by the way. You don't have to be either or against it. You can bet on those companies as well. But this one, to me, if you wanted to bet one company on the future of innovation, the best entrepreneur that combines visionary with engineering skills, you got to be in space.
It's moonshot optionality is what he's talking about. There's so many different verticals that they are focused on to get moonshot optionality. And I think, granted, to Malcolm's point, there wasn't a lot of discussion on that topic in the roadshow. It's so funny. It was such a big part of the valuation, but they didn't address it a lot in the roadshow. They focused on their core business. That's admirable.
Well,